Welcome to this presentation. My name is Ray Prokopovich. I'm the co-founder and CEO of SOZAP. SOZAP is a digital entertainment company focused on mobile games with a free-to-play model. Let me tell you a bit about our history. So we founded this company back in 2015 with the ambition to bring a full-blown shooter to the mobile market. Back then, you had shooters available. Most of them were on rails, quite constrained experiences for the users. An adaptation of the shooters we see today for a more casual audience. But we saw that the performance on mobile devices is increasing. The cognitive load on the users of mobile is increasing, and therefore decided to make Armed Heist. And Armed Heist is, well, it's our first game and our first game success. It's had 20 million downloads. It's a third-person shooter. I think the name says a lot. You play together with your friends or with other players to take down banks, armored cars, jewelry stores. You are a bank robber. So the interesting thing is, in 2015, when we started making this game and actually finished this game, we had a head count of 11 people. I think that's a fantastic. It's a fantastic number. I mean, 11 people should not be making a shooter like Armed Heist, but yet again we did. Armed Heist is a great game, released in 2018, appreciated by our players then and now. We decided once we saw that, hey, people like our product, let's grow the product, let's grow our organization, which we did. Today we are 26. We're growing. We have 4 new members joining us in June. We have started 2 more projects, Legends of Libra and Spells and Loot. And at the same time, we've doubled down our ARPDAU. So we've increased the average revenue per daily active user, which I think is a fantastic number. What we're showing here is from in-app purchases, both platforms combined. But let me just mention the new projects. So the new projects are not shooters. Spells and Loot and Legends of Libra are both casual games. Because again, the larger portion of the audience on mobile is, those are casual players. And we wanted to start catering to them, but using all the insights and the know-how, the back-end, the tracking that we implemented from Armed Heist. And both of those games are going to be released this year. Legends of Libra is already in soft launch in some selected countries, and Spells Loot is still a big secret. So before we talk a bit more about SOZAP, for the viewers that are not so familiar with free-to-play and our world, I would like to just quickly describe how this all works. So free-to-play, basically Armed Heist is free to download. It can be downloaded on Google Play or Apple App Store. And our customer acquisition cost is 30% that is charged by these platforms once a user makes a purchase. That was the easy version. So our revenue can be generated from players who choose to become paying users. They can buy virtual goods in the game. And those users that do not become paying users, they watch rewarded ads to get also virtual goods as a reward. And in some cases, we also force ads on those users. The in-app purchases are charged 30% when they occur, and the ad revenue is a net revenue which is generated through a bidding system that we have. So we have a lot of networks connected, and those networks bid for a position to show ads in our game, and when they do so, that generates an income. But that's the simple side of it. I mean, once a game reaches these metrics that we have today, UA comes into play, so user acquisition. Through our own marketing, we're able to scale our user base, and that's what we're doing. So we're buying ads, for example, Facebook networks. To simplify it even further, we spend $1,000 today, we get 1,000 users. That gives us a cost per installation or cost per user of $1. We take those users, we take that spend, but we also divide it on all the users that day. So we had those 1,000 users that got in through our marketing, and we, let's say, have 10,000 users coming in organically through the platforms, K-Factor, Search Field, and so on. So that gives us an effective cost per installation, those $1,000 divided on those 11,000 users. I'm not going to take up more time on this, so let's move forward. Data-driven. So, you know, to make a game, you have to be creative, which we are. We've shown that we're creative, and you have to be skilled, of course, to make a game like Armed Heist. But to make that game, to reach its profitability potential, you have to be data-driven. And for the last 6 months, we had the resources and time to dig into our data, segment that data, get some questions answered through that data, and improving the game, improving the conversion, and therefore also doubling the average revenue per daily active user that I showed 2 slides ago. Let's look at it as in a more clear way. So the red towers, they represent the average daily active users for those quarters, and the orange represents the average ARPDAU, in-app purchase ARPDAU for those quarters. As you can see, Q3 something happened, boom, Q4 continued to grow this year, Q1, and it continues to grow. I would like to point out one thing. You can see that our in-app ARPDAU in the US is above 20 cents. That's both platforms combined, Android and Apple, App Store and Google Play. That's a fantastic number. You can also see in the other corner that 68% of our revenue is generated by purchases and 32% by ads, which I think is a really healthy number. But we're working on the in-app purchase part, and our goal is to have 80% in-app purchase revenue and just 20% ads. And of course, the long-term ambition is to create a game which is ad-free. So what are we going to do with all of this data, all of these improvements? We're going to scale. As I mentioned in the earlier slide, UA, user acquisition. Once a game gets a high enough lifetime value, you can start scaling your marketing activities. You get a higher DAU by marketing your game, getting more installations. You have something called DAU MAU, so basically those users from that month and the daily active users in that month. We look at that with a number called stickiness. In our case, stickiness is low, 7.3. It's natural for the type of game that we made. It's a shooter game. You don't play it 5 times a day. It's not a 2-minute experience. However, we see in the data vast of improvements that we're going to do that's going to increase the stickiness. What that's going to do is it's going to increase retention, increasing stickiness. It's going to give us a higher DAU on the same amount of MAU that we have. Basically, on the amount of users that we generate daily, we're going to have a larger daily active user base, therefore increasing our top revenue. Back to the UA. So the UA, we measure that through something called ROAS, return on acquisition spend. In our case, the day 7 ROAS is above 30%. So we spend $1 on a user, and by day 7, he's generated 30% of that cost back, which is a fantastic number. So at the moment, we're increasing our UA. We're continuing with the data-driven decision-making and improvements of our game, and scaling our user base. And again, scaling our top-line revenue. So the opportunity, well, if we look at SOZAP, I mean, 11 people made this game. The same people grew the organization, and together we're very strong, creatively together strong, as I like to put it. We're going to continue to make shooters. Going forward, we're going to adopt cross-platform. We can see those trends at the moment. I mean, you have PUBG on mobile, you have it on PC, on console. Same goes for Fortnite. And there is no actual technical limitations for us to do the same. So future shooters will be available on most of the popular platforms. As I mentioned, we have Legends of Libra and Spells and Loot. That's our entry into the casual games. That's going to be something that is going to be a huge part of SOZAP. Again, mobile is a casual platform, and with all the insights that we made and the skills that we have, for sure we're going to make great casual games. And of course, future opportunities. I mean, when you have a skilled studio, which is creative, skilled, data-driven, we can quickly jump on new trends, new mechanics, both game mechanics, but monetization mechanics. And I would say that that's the opportunity to be part of SOZAP and SOZAP's creative future. Thank you for listening in, and I will see you next time.